I've never seen such a tough man. He actually set fire to the money he'd earned with his life. It turned out that just a day ago, Old White was kicked out of his home. His wife suspected him of having an affair, but he had risked his life for this family. What was his fault? Thinking of this, Old White felt regretful. Just then, his brother-in-law Hank came to help Old White pack his luggage. He said that Mrs. White was just angry. Women were like that. Once she cooled down, all it took was some sweet talk to make things right. Looking at the money bag on the ground, Old White felt a bit guilty. Inside was $500,000 he had earned as a drug lord. Seeing how nervous he was, Hank, who was a drug enforcement officer, asked him what was in the bag. Old White hesitated for a moment and said it was $500,000. Hank thought he was just joking because he was in a bad mood and had no idea that his cousin was the infamous big drug lord Heisenberg. The next day, Mrs. White came to his place in person. Old White thought his wife was finally willing to believe him. But as soon as she entered the room, she took out a divorce agreement. Old White was stunned on the spot. He had been terminally ill before and had worked his butt off to earn money for his family before he thought he was going to die. Now, all he got in return was a divorce paper from his wife. He wasn't going to take it lying down. However, when Mrs. White exposed his identity as a drug lord, Old White was completely shocked. Since his wife already knew, he simply told her everything. But his wife still wouldn't forgive him. Facing his wife's heartlessness, Old White was ultimately at a disadvantage. In order to save his marriage, he went to the fried chicken restaurant again to find the mysterious Big Shot. He said that he wanted to terminate their cooperation, and from then on, Heisenberg would disappear from the criminal world. But without him, who could make the top-notch cocaine? The Big Shot immediately offered a monthly salary of $3 million and asked him to work for a few more months. After that, he could leave or stay as he pleased. However, Old White had made up his mind and declined the Big Shot's offer. Hearing this, the Big Shot smiled faintly, thinking that if Old White could really retire from the criminal world, then all his years of work would have been in vain. At the same time, in a freight truck at the border, the driver took the illegal immigrants to the designated location. Suddenly, gunshots rang out from the trunk. The two men were brothers of Tuco and were known in the underworld as the Twin Killers. They had come this time to avenge Tuco. To avoid leaking any information, they killed everyone in the truck. Facing these two ruthless brothers, how will Old White, who wants to retire from a life of crime, deal with the situation?